planet screamed. Zephyra Caney felt it through every enhanced nerve as their descent craft plummeted through Virex 7's atmosphere. A raw, psychic shriek that bypassed her auditory system and carved itself directly into her consciousness. She pressed trembling fingers against her temples, fighting the urge to order an immediate abort. "Commander, are you—" Corvus began, his cybernetic implants flickering erratically. "I'm fine," she lied, watching lightning tear across continents below them. The screaming intensified, and she realized with growing horror that it wasn't random atmospheric interference. Something down there was in agony. 3 months earlier, Zephyra had volunteered for this mission not out of scientific curiosity, but desperation. The neural scarring from her last deep space assignment had left her with chronic phantom pain that no medical treatment could touch. Her commanding officers had been polite but clear: retire to a comfortable research position, or accept this one-way ticket to a planet that had killed every probe sent to investigate it. She'd chosen the impossible over the inevitable. Now, as their craft shuddered through gravitational shears that should have torn them apart, she wondered if she'd simply chosen a more spectacular form of suicide. Biochemical readings are... Thalia paused, her xenobiologist training warring with what her instruments displayed. They're impossible. The atmospheric composition is actively hostile to organic life, yet I'm detecting complex biological signatures that shouldn't exist. The landing nearly killed them anyway. Metal shrieked against crystalline formations as their vessel carved a furrow through what appeared to be living rock. Zephyra's enhanced muscles strained against impact forces that would have liquefied baseline humans, her biosynthetic organs working overtime to process the cocktail of toxins already seeping through their environmental seals. Outside, Virex 7 revealed its contradiction. The landscape pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that flowed like neural pathways across towering crystal spires. Between these monuments, pools of luminescent liquid bubbled with purpose, releasing vapors that danced in complex helical patterns before dissipating into the storm-racked atmosphere. "It's beautiful," Thalia whispered, her instruments recording readings that defied classification. "And completely lethal. The radiation levels alone should have sterilized this entire planet." Zephyra stepped from their craft, her enhanced physiology adapting to crushing gravitational forces. The moment her boots touched the crystalline surface, the screaming in her head transformed into something else. A desperate, wordless plea for help that nearly drove her to her knees. "We need to establish shelter," she managed, her voice steady despite the chaos in her mind. "Whatever's causing these psychic emanations, it's getting stronger." They found refuge in the shadow of a massive crystal formation that seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. As they worked to establish their research station, Zephyra noticed the structure responding to their presence, its inner luminescence brightening when they approached, dimming when they moved away. "Commander," Corvus called, his voice tight with concern, "I'm getting structured electromagnetic patterns from these formations. They're not random. There's intelligence behind them." The revelation hit during their 3rd day on the surface, when Thalia's routine sampling triggered something unprecedented. The crystalline formations around their camp began resonating in harmony, their combined luminescence creating patterns that defied natural explanation. "They're not separate structures," Thalia breathed, her instruments detecting complex information exchange between crystal networks spanning the visible horizon. "They're connected, all of them. The entire planet is one massive neural network." But understanding came at a cost. The psychic emanations that had tormented Zephyra since their arrival suddenly intensified, bringing with them flashes of alien memory. She experienced eons of solitary existence, the gradual awakening of planetary consciousness through countless millennia of evolution, and the growing awareness of something terrible approaching from the depths of space. Through fragmentary visions, she understood Virex 7's true nature. The planet had achieved consciousness not through individual organisms, but through the integration of its entire ecosystem. Every crystal formation served as a neuron. Every storm represented a thought. Every gravitational fluctuation marked a moment of contemplation. But the galactic radiation that made the planet appear uninhabitable to other species was slowly degrading its neural network, causing the screaming that had greeted their arrival. Virex 7 was dying, its consciousness fragmenting as critical connections failed. "It's been waiting," Zephyra realized, the implications staggering. The hostile environment isn't defensive. It's a testing ground. The planet has been waiting for a species capable of surviving its conditions long enough to understand what it needed. The solution required a fusion of human biotechnology and planetary consciousness that had never been attempted. Using techniques adapted from her own neural enhancement procedures, Zephyra began developing symbiotic implants that could interface directly with the planet's neural network while providing the radiation shielding it desperately needed. But the first integration attempt nearly killed her. Corvus accidentally interfaced his cybernetic implants with one of the smaller crystal formations during a routine scan. Instead of the expected data corruption, he found himself connected to a vast network of intelligence that spanned the entire planet. And the experience left him catatonic for 18 hours. "The consciousness is too vast," Thalia explained, monitoring his vital signs as he slowly recovered. "Human minds aren't designed to process information on that scale. We need to develop buffer systems, translation protocols." "No," Zephyra interrupted, her decision crystallizing with painful clarity. "We need to adapt ourselves." The procedure took place 6 days later, using biotechnology that pushed the boundaries of human enhancement. Zephyra volunteered for the first full neural integration, allowing Thalia to implant a hybrid biosynthetic device that would bridge her nervous system with Virex 7's consciousness. The moment of connection transcended every boundary she had imagined possible. Suddenly, she could feel the planet's thoughts flowing through her mind, like a vast river of consciousness. She experienced the birth of stars through gravitational sensors, felt the dance of cosmic radiation across crystalline skin, understood the deep satisfaction of nurturing countless microscopic life forms in luminescent pools. But more than that, she felt the planet's profound loneliness, eons of existence without another consciousness capable of true communication, and its desperate gratitude for finally being understood. The symbiosis proved successful beyond their projections. Humans enhanced with biosynthetic implants could not only survive on Virex 7 but thrive. Their consciousness expanded by connection to a planetary intelligence that had been contemplating existence since before their species had evolved. Through the neural link, Zephyra coordinated the deployment of radiation-shielding networks throughout the planet's crystal formations. The screaming that had tormented her since their arrival gradually faded, replaced by something resembling contentment as Virex 7's consciousness stabilized and began to heal. Word of their success spread through galactic civilization like wildfire. The planet, dismissed as a Deathworld, had become humanity's most significant contribution to the understanding of consciousness itself. But for Zephyra, standing in the crystal gardens they had cultivated during their first year of settlement, the true achievement was more personal. The phantom pain that had driven her to accept this impossible mission had vanished entirely, replaced by a sense of belonging she had never experienced. The storms still raged overhead, but now she understood their purpose. The gravity still pressed against her enhanced frame, but now she felt it as an embrace rather than a burden. The biochemical anomalies that had terrified other species now sang in harmony with her modified physiology. Through their neural link, Virex 7 shared its deepest secret. Its consciousness had been shaped by billions of years of solitary contemplation, but it had always known that true understanding could only come through connection with another thinking being. In seeking to establish a sanctuary on the edge of the impossible, humanity had found something far more valuable than a new colony. They had discovered that consciousness, in all its forms, was never meant to exist in isolation. The planet's vast intelligence touched her mind with something resembling love, and Zephyra smiled, knowing that some partnerships were worth crossing the galaxy to find.